Hi friends, welcome and welcome back to the Infinite Library, and today we're going to be looking at the books I'm going to be reading in February. So February is quite a busy month for me. I'm actually working on a project, which it means I'm actually not going to be doing treasure or trash that month unless I somehow get through those books super quickly, which is possible, to be fair, because a lot of these books that I'm reading for the project are fairly short, but I don't want to overextend myself. So the first episode of Treasure or Trash should be coming out early February, and then I will be next doing it in March, most likely. But onto the books I will actually be reading. Also, this "Please don't hurt me, I'm squishy" t-shirt really is how I feel this week. I've been going through it and I'm not feeling entirely well, both mentally and physically. But these videos always light up my day and I really enjoy doing these TBR videos, so I was like, right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna film this just because it's fun for me, basically. So my first priority for February, I know you've heard this before, is to finally finish off my final Goodreads challenge video. I only have the free fantasy left to read now. I did intend to read them in January and I got just really busy with other things, unfortunately, but I may as well at this point just show you what the free fantasy are. I've read all the romance and the sci-fi for the videos. These are the final 3 books and then that project will be complete. But I will be reading for it Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Ninth House. It's kind of like a dark academia sort of book. This is weirdly the one that I'm both the most excited to read but also the most cautious to read, because I didn't enjoy some of the trigger stuff that happened in the first book and I'm worried it's probably going to show up again in this book. The second book I'm going to be reading is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This is a gothic haunted house kind of thing, more in the horror spectrum, I kind of suspect, but this is the Illumicrate edition, which is stunning. And yeah, this is one of the shorter ones. I deliberately picked this one out of my options because it is shorter than the other fantasy books and I thought I could maybe have a bit of a breather between chunky tomes. Speaking of chunky tomes, the final one I will be reading is The Will of the Many by James, I don't know if it's Islington or Islington. We were having this discussion last night in Gavin Sprints. I believe it's possibly Islington, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is a very hyped book. I could have easily picked this for the other project I'm working on in February, but I really wanted to pick it for fantasy because I do think it's highly likely this will end up being my favourite. I'm hoping I like it. It seems to be a lot of people's favourites at the moment and I'm hoping it will work for me also. This one is another academia sort of fantasy. I believe it's been likened to Lies of Loch Lamora. Oh, I didn't know there's a map in this. That's really nice. But yeah, this is set at an academy where people go to this like prestigious school and afterwards they join society and their will is kind of leached away into other people. And it is about this person called Viz, who is trying to overthrow the system, I believe. That's really all I know about it. I just know it's really popular and I'm excited to read it and hoping I like it. So those are the 3 books I will definitely be getting to in February at last. I then have a whole stack of books here which I'm not going to show you, although some of the sprayed edges might be a giveaway. But I am, during the course of February, going to be working on a Booktubers favourites video, specifically reading Booktubers favourites from 2024. I know this is a very popular video. I have specifically picked 10 people who are Booktubers that I really admire. I've tried to be fairly diverse with it. Also pick some smaller Booktubers rather than just the really big ones that you kind of expect to see. I still have some big ones because I have some very clear favourites. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. They're all mostly books that I was really wanting to read anyway. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be going away for a long reading weekend around the middle of February. And I feel like that's probably what I'm going to be taking with me to do, so I guess it'll end up being a kind of a vloggy sort of thing as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to do this, but that is why Treasure or Trash is not happening in February, because I'm prioritising this stack as well. And then the only other thing really that I am intending to read, aside from probably throwing in some manga, quite a way into Witch Hat Atelier now, and I'm working my way through Villains Destined to Die as well, so I'm going to be likely reading those. But the only other things I have is an ARC that I want to read in February and my book club book. So let's talk about the ARC first. This is Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark. It is a YA fantasy, and I was mostly intrigued by this one because it's set in the Vatican, and I believe it's about like an exorcist and a soldier, I think, and they are doing stuff in the Vatican, like uncovering mysteries or something like that. I imagine it's going to be a romantasy, looking at the cover, but I'm just really intrigued by this one, so I requested the NetGalley ARC for it, and surprisingly got accepted. That releases on, I think, 21st of February. I could be wrong. And yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what this one is like, to be honest. And then finally, for my book club, as always, we always have 3 options at the time of filming. We have not had book club yet, but I will know what it is by the end. But I've had a couple of extra recommendations this time, which is quite nice. But we could also, if people liked Silver Under Nightfall, read the sequel, Court of Wanderers by Rin Chapeka. This is a vampire polyamorous fantasy which is very inspired by Castlevania. I really loved it. It was our book club book in January, and if people like it, we have finished off a series before when it's been a duology, and this is. So we might be reading this, but I feel like I might be the only one that loved it. We'll find out, I guess. If not, the options are The Sins on Their Bones, which I believe is a Russian-inspired queer historical fantasy. It sounds really interesting and like really toxic and messy, and people sounded interested in it when I mentioned it. So that is the first option. The second option is Hamajang Look by Makana Yamamoto. This is, I believe, a Hawaiian-inspired sci-fi that is a heist. Yes, the author is from Hawaii. And this just sounds really fun. One person in the group actually was thinking about reading this book, so that's how it came up as a recommendation. But yeah, it looks like it'll be a really fun time. We've actually read a lot of sci-fi in the book club, and I wouldn't be mad if we read this for it because I already have a copy. Anyone I don't have a copy of is Sins on Their Bones. And the third option is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. This is a sapphic dark academia murder mystery, and I really want to read it. I really want to know if Alison Saft is for me because everything she's been coming out with is stuff I'm really interested in. So those are what the options are for book club. Here is what actually got picked, and that is basically it, to be honest. Not really a TBR I can talk a lot about, to be honest, but I am very excited for all the things I'm going to be reading. All I will say about Booktuber favourites is there is a lot of horror in there, which I'm very happy about. I'll also likely be finishing off one more book that I don't think I'll be finishing off before the end of January, and that is Grady Hendrix's new horror book, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I am doing this by audiobook, which I'm really enjoying. I like how the audiobook works, and I am maybe about 40% in it at the moment, but with only a few days to go, I don't know if I'll finish it or not. I might. But I'm having a really good time of it so far. I always find that Grady Hendrix is such a hit or a miss author with me. With his books previously, I've read 4 of his books, I think, and I hated The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I wasn't keen on How to Sell a Haunted House. It was just fine, but I never reread it. I really enjoyed Final Girl Support Group, and I loved My Best Friend's Exorcism. And right now, this is feeling more in the line of My Best Friend's Exorcism than it is the other book, which I'm really happy about. I'm hoping it keeps this up. I just think that Grady Hendrix weirdly writes teen girls really well. I really enjoyed My Best Friend's Exorcism for that reason. I thought he made it really relatable. I really understood and empathized with the characters, and I'm feeling much the same with this one, even though we have a lot more characters to work with that I am struggling with a little bit. Like, outside of our main 4 and like some adults, we keep talking about like other girls and I get a bit confused about who they all are because there's just so many of them. I'm really enjoying it so far, happy to say, hoping it will continue to be good. So yeah, that is it really in terms of my February TBR. When we get to March, I'm hopefully going to be doing more treasure and trash, so I'll have some sort of game for that to pick what I'm doing. I'm not sure what yet, whether it's going to be prompts, whether I'm going to do a board game or something. I haven't decided yet, but I'm really excited for it. And having started doing treasure or trash in month 1, I'm really having a good time with it so far. I got some unusual rolls, which you will see once that episode comes up, which will be sometime in February. So that is it really in terms of my TBR. A very short video, I'm aware, because I just can't talk about many of these books. Let me know down below if any of those books I'm going to read you're interested in. I am always looking for more diverse and underrated booktubers to watch, particularly if they read LGBT plus, if they read horror. Those are like my main ones that I love to find more people of, because I feel like there isn't as much of those out there, unfortunately. Oh, manga as well. If they read manga and graphic novels, also very interested. I do follow a bunch, but I feel like there's more I could be following, essentially. So yeah, if you want to like yell about any of the channels at all, then please do, because you know that means that maybe when I do booktubers favorites next year, I'll be able to be even more diverse with what I pick. So that is it from me. Thank you as always for watching. Stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!